Good morning. Magandang umaga po. I'm back to talk to you a little bit about passport applications. I did not realize that my passport expired in April, and my original thought was to renew it when I'm in the Philippines, since I don't really need a passport to enter the country as a dual citizen. And I was going to renew it in the Philippines, but now I found out, lo and behold, that you cannot enter the Philippines unless you have a Philippine passport. So, I'm going to New York to renew my passport, and I'm going to talk to you about the new requirements that I found out. Okay, so stay with me, hang loose. In the process of investigating what I will need to renew my passport, I got on the internet. And the first thing I needed to do is to set up an appointment. It used to be I'll just go there first thing in the morning because I want to be the first. I live 2 hours away from New York City. And this is New York City, by the way, okay? So you may have to look at your requirement in the locality while you are. So I investigated, and they said, oh, you need an appointment. So I set up an appointment right away. And the earliest I can get is a month from now. So October 28, I think, is my appointment. So towards the end of October. So that is now a requirement. You cannot just go in there. And I did notice that the appointments are like every 10 or 15 minutes. So maybe it's not going to take long for me to complete an application form. Anyway, I did not want to wait until I get there to fill out the application form. So I got on the internet and I filled it out online. You cannot submit it online, but I was able to fill it out, print it out, so at least I have a quote-unquote typewritten, okay? So it's a computer-generated form that is all filled out and ready to go. However, I decided not to sign it because I may need to sign it in front of a notary when I'm in New York City. So I'm going to make multiple copies of that. The other thing that they need is your original or current passport if you already have a passport. This is for renewals. If you're applying for the first time for a Philippine passport, that will be another requirement. Okay, this is for renewal. If you change your name because you got married, you need to bring your marriage certificate, proof of certificate. You do not need to bring a picture because they will take your picture there once you are at the consulate office. And you need another form of ID, and your old passport is one form of ID, maybe your driver's license or senior card if you already have a senior card. And you need to photocopy them. I will photocopy 2 copies of each, including the passport, the main page and any page where there is a stamp when you entered and left the country. And a photocopy of your proof of Filipino citizenship. I don't know why I need that because the Philippine passport is already proof of my citizenship, but I will bring my immigration naturalization papers anyway. When you go to a place that is so far away from you, if you only live a block away or, within the city, you can make a mistake and come back. But when you live 2 hours away, so some of you may be living 4 hours away from the nearest embassy or consulate, make sure you have all the papers with you, whether it's required or not, just in case they ask for something, okay? So that is the idea. But you can no longer walk in. You need to set up an appointment. Now, one thing that they also require is that you need to bring with you, hold on for a minute, a return envelope that is postage paid. And it has to be on a priority, USPS priority. I looked at other websites and they require Priority Express, which costs about a little under $30. I said, this is ridiculous. Why do I need this? It will take a day. I don't need a day. I could wait for a week. Okay. So here in New York City, they needed a priority. So you can go to the post office, get a priority envelope. You don't have to pay anything because there's no stamps. Then if you don't have stamps, you go ahead and pay for stamps, not the machine-generated stamp. It has to be a postage stamp. The machine-generated stamp has a date, okay, a postmark date, and they don't want that. So make sure you put postage stamp, and I think it's about it's under $8, okay? And that is 2 days. In 2 days, you will get your passport. Now, processing of passport is done in Manila, and it takes a while for it to get back to you. You could wait anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. I'm giving myself 2 months, 8 weeks, okay, for it to get back to me. Now, one thing I don't know yet is I don't know where I'm going to be, so I don't know where they're going to return it to me. Should they send it back to me in Pennsylvania if I'm still here? Should I send it to Connecticut when I'm at my son's? Should I send it to Washington? Should I be at my daughter's? So that's a question. So I printed several labels, address labels, because it has to be labeled. You can write your address, of course. You don't have to use a label. But I printed labels with all those locations. My location in Pennsylvania, my son's location in Connecticut, and my daughter's location in Washington. Just in case, okay? Because by the time, I don't know, maybe I'll know better. Most likely I will use Washington, because before I go to the Philippines, I'll stop by Washington anyway. So that's probably going to be the safest for me. So those are the new requirement to renew. And the fees, I think, is about $60 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think the fee is only $60. Anyway, it's under $100. Now, one thing about dual citizens is some of them try to save money by not getting a passport. And you can get away with it before. But now with the pandemic, they always require a Philippine passport. So don't get stranded in Manila, not being allowed to get in because you don't have a U.S. passport. Now, I also heard, but I don't know this yet, that if your spouse is not a Filipino citizen but she's traveling with you, he will be able to go ahead and enter, of course, without a passport because he is not a dual citizen. So that's what I understand, okay? But I also heard some horror stories about a dual citizen with their children, and one child who's under 18 or 21 was able to go in, but the one who is over 18 is required to have a passport, okay? So he couldn't get in, and they were stranded. They were at the airport. I don't know whatever happened to that story. But be careful. The old rules may have changed. So, and before I leave, I'm going to change it again because things are changing. Also, depending on where you are, the fees could be different. I don't know. I heard somebody say that, I don't know if this is in Canada or another state in New York or in the United States, that their fee is like $100 or so, or maybe even more. I have no idea. So please be sure to check that out. And just, again, make sure you have you don't need a picture. Make sure you have the return, postpaid priority envelope. You have your old passport, you have another form of ID or maybe 2 forms of IDs, you have your naturalization papers just in case they ask for it, although the passport should be adequate, and anything else that you could possibly need. If you have birth certificate, bring it in with you. Do that, okay? Don't say, oh gee, it's not written as required. It's the Philippines. They could require anything and say, you have to come back, and they don't care. They don't care. So if you live far away from the consulate office, they don't care if you have to travel 2, 3, 4, 6 hours. They don't care. So just make sure you do that. You bring those with you. Okay. So that is the only information I have right now. I'm going to print out down below where I got this information from the website, and this way you could refer to it before you go away. And also I will put a link down below on how to find this website. Okay, so make sure you review it periodically before you go to New York or to wherever you're gonna go, and before you go to the Philippines, just to be safe. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. I just wanted to share this with you since this is something I learned. Next time I'm going to talk to you about the getting the dual citizenship process today, what they require and what it takes. All right, so please share this with other people who might find this topic interesting, and do like and subscribe. I'll appreciate that. And please hit the notification button so that you will get notified of new videos that I have. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.